Hello and welcome to the I Love You Bet podcast. I'm Heather and this is my sister,
Ryan. Each week we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us,
sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
Hey, sister. Just being real mad at all the technology that should be working fine because Mercury's not gone retrograde yet, but it's fine. Can I tell you how I have not been wasting time? I have not been wasting time watching the World Cup, even though I would like to be watching the World Cup, because I have been very busy doing things for this podcast and my upcoming book and our upcoming podcast, the Poop Lab podcast. So how have you been this week?
I have been back on Duolingo trying to learn French again for 8 millionth time in my life, or continuing
Très bon.
French learning journey. Merci. So, and it was like, do all the pay for a membership.
Right.
So I did a 30-day trial. And then they're like, after the 30 days, we'll charge you the $96 fee for the whole year. It's like, okay. And they said that they would send me reminders. And so I've been wasting time doing Duolingo a lot, which is great. I have lots of time right now. Well, then Wednesday night, I get a text message from my bank at like 11 p.m. that's like, we did not, payment for $101 and something cents was blocked because we think it might have been fraud. If you didn't make this purchase, reply yes or no or whatever, and we'll close your card and send you a new card. And I'm like, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I haven't, and I've been ordering things for Elliot's birthday party, so I'm like thinking, and I'm like, no, I haven't bought anything for 101. I've been tracking my spending and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, God, it's going to be such a pain in the ass. And I go to my bank to see if there's any, but of course they blocked it, so it doesn't say. So I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, fuck. Like, part of me was like, what if I just let it roll? And if another thing comes through, then I can like contest it. I was like, be an adult, Ryan. And all this is going through my head as I'm like going to bed. Then I'm like, yes, it's fraud or whatever. And so what if they went ahead and charged me for the Duolingo? And that's what the 101. And woke up the next morning to an email from Apple ID that's like, trouble processing your payment. I was like, fuck me.
Well, not fuck you, fuck them.
I've gone to the bank twice this week because I don't have other forms of payment and no one checks. Like, I have a checkbook, but no one really takes checks anymore. So that's where I went when I said I just got home from an errand, was running to the bank before it closed at 1 to make sure that I had cash for the weekend to get stuff. So I had to go to the bank and give cash.
All these people keep saying that they're having a 90s summer. Now you are literally having a 90s summer.
Thursday, I went and got lunch. And like, I swear the girl was like so upset at having to think out change because I don't think they had the cash register that told her what to change. I mean, because like, and like she had to cancel the credit card payment because she just automatically was like, card payment, and like had to take the glove off and whatever. But anyway, so I am currently wasting a lot of time dealing with that and foresee myself wasting more time dealing with that when the new card comes in to put up what's going on with that. And then the other more fun thing is I watched the first season of All's Fair, the Ryan Murphy Lady Lawyers with Glenn Close, and it's on Hulu. But it has Kim Kardashian, so which is why I avoided it for so long, and then I like ran out of things, and so I was like, okay. But you should watch it. I think you would enjoy it.
I'm not watching anything with Kim Kardashian in it. And
that was my thing. But I think so I'm like, I watched it and I'm like, can she actually act? But what I think is that Ryan Murphy and his writing team created a character that didn't require acting.
Yeah, I'm still not watching it.
Like super controlled. The one woman who's in all his shows is in it, and she's so good.
Okay. I'm not participating in the Kardashians, but that's fine. I'm glad that that's a thing you're into. I introduced our family priest to a new indulgence.
You did?
I did. I called it a sin, and he said it's not a sin, it's an indulgence. So we went to dinner with our lovely family priest last weekend, and it was great. Although we went to this local family place that's Italian and it's really good food, but it's just one of those places where there's a whole bunch of tables and they're all real close together and everything is made to bounce sound off of. So it's just loud. And it doesn't matter if there's 50 people in there or 10 people in there, it's loud and we're loud and it's loud. So that's unpleasant. And they put us in a smaller room where as soon as we started talking about mom's sister who lives in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and talking about that part of our vacation. And I think the thing that really upsets our aunt is that she's such a believer in her faith, that she truly believes that she's going to spend an eternity in heaven, but her sister, our mother, and us are going to spend an eternity in hell for what we believe. And so that's very upsetting to her. And we're like, I don't think that's going to happen. And so then that led to MAGA and some other stuff. And like, I could see these tables around us and they were just getting quieter and quieter. But I was like, you know what? Fuck y'all. Like, I'm allowed to fucking complain about it. Like, God fucking damn it and God damn you. But anyway, we wanted to spend some time together. And it was not great to maybe keep spending time in that situation for those two specific reasons. So our family priest was like, hey, let's go get some ice cream. So we're driving. He's telling me, Heather, go this way. And then I saw Brahms and I was like, oh, we're going to Brahms? And he says, no, we're going to a local place. And I said, okay. So then I turned and I went across the bridge and then I turned again. And then I turned right again and I saw another Brahms. And I was like, oh, we're going to this Brahms. And our family priest said, no, Heather. I was like, I didn't know if maybe this was like your local Brahms and not that Brahms that was over there. He told me to stop it. And we went to an actual cute little place and had local ice cream. And that was very good, but it was also very crowded and very loud. And then he says, okay, we're going to get popcorn. So all of a sudden, we're just going through this little door into the next door space that's like interconnected. Nobody's in there and they have all this flavored popcorn. And I'm like, well, why didn't we just eat our ice cream in here? Because this is so much more comfortable. Okay. And then he's like, what kind are you going to get? And I was like, well, I'm going to get a mixture of extra cheddar and extra buttery caramel. And he was like, together? And I was like, oh, family priest, have you never mixed sweet popcorn with cheesy popcorn? He had not. And he made himself wait. He didn't have any that night because he had had like Italian food and then the ice cream. So he was letting his blood sugar calm down. But I was texting him the next day and he was like, it's so good. I was like, yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's called the Chicago mix. It's a thing.
No, yeah, it's a thing. And that's what the sales girl was saying. She was mixing it. She's like, so we're doing it the Chicago way where I charge you for caramel. I was like, you can do whatever you want to do. I just need you to give me a mix of caramel and cheddar, extra of both. And that's what I need in my life. And then your mother, because she had enjoyed her wine at dinner. And I was like, okay, Mom, I'm putting this in the trunk so that it doesn't disappear on the way home. I'm not going to eat it on the way home, blah, blah, blah. So we get back to family priest's place and we're dropping him off. And as I'm going to open his door, I can hear the two of them giggling in the back seat. I'm like, quit talking about me. Open the door for him. He says, I told her to get back there and eat that popcorn.
Of course he did.
So we get home and I take the popcorn and I half it, right? So I take my half back to my room and I swear the dementia is like turning her into our father because like you can't trust her. Like she's a little snack monster. I'm like, okay. That fucking popcorn sat on the counter for like 3 days and was like, Mom, what are you doing? She said she's saving it. I'm like, it doesn't have preservatives. It cannot be saved. Every day that you're not eating it, it's getting worse.
Eat it for like a special occasion?
Oh, girl, I don't know. This is how we lead people into temptation.
Okay.
Anything else before we get into our Pride episode?
So did our aunt actually say that she's sad thinking about how we're all going to be in hell, or are you just like, no, that's what's happening?
No, she told that to Mom once. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't on this trip because I was like, you left that out. Okay.
No. And then she spends a ton of her life just trying to like make Mom proud of her. And I'm like, Mom's, yours isn't that great. Like,
Also, been there, done that, quit doing that a long time ago.
yeah. She's impossible. As impossible as everybody thinks I am. Good Lord.
Yes.
Geese when they fly with the moon on their wings. Elaine Davis is an impossible motherfucker.
Yes. If you ever wonder why we make fun of her so much,
It's because we love her so much.
Well, also that. But also.
And also. Which could be the other name of our podcast. And also. I love you. And also. So, in what ways has Romeo and Juliet from 1996 been a part of your life, Rian Davis?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that I watched this during, like, basically, like, around the same time that I, like, started puberty. So there was definitely some impact happening there. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that it's a iconic movie for our generation.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I would really know as much about the story of Romeo and Juliet if it were not for this movie. Because if it hasn't become abundantly clear to our listeners, I have never actually read a complete Shakespeare work of Shakespeare, despite taking AP English.
You've read a sonnet, right? I mean, they're not that long.
Oh, well, yes, I've read a sonnet. I mean, yes, but I've never read a whole play, right?
A five-act play. Yeah.
Yes, like I was in AP English all through high school, and I'm sure we had to read at least Romeo and Juliet, if not something else. But and even then, there were still things that I was like, what? Okay. Because, I mean, it had been a long time since I'd actually seen this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I've watched it in the 2000s. Maybe the early 2000s.
Yeah, I have not seen it in a long time. I saw more than once in the movie theater for sure. And this is one of those where it was like, I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed if it doesn't stand up, but was kind of hopeful that it would still be like somewhat good. And I felt like it was. I felt like that was good. Would you like to hear about the date that I went on to see the movie Romeo and Juliet?
Absolutely would.
So this was saying in the summer of 1996, which was the summer after I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
There was this guy so this is back in landline days before text exists and we would like call people and talk on the phone all the time, which doesn't seem like something we do as an introvert, but it's actually perfect for an extroverted introvert because it's just one person or maybe two persons if you got three-way calling, but like it's just that one once. So your energy isn't getting sucked out of you. And it was this guy, Alan, that I was friends with. And he like majored in PE in high school, which I didn't realize you could actually do, but he did. That was like all of his electives were PE.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, that's how he majored in PE. I majored in drama in high school. He majored in PE. So we'd just been hanging out, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, you know how we've been hanging out, we're friends and stuff? And it was like, yeah, I do know that because we talk all the time. And he goes, I think we should date. It's like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, do you want to go on a date? I was like, yeah, man, we can go on a date. This motherfucker shows up in his mother's car. I have already seen his car. I have been in his car. He's been in my car. Shows up in his mother's car. First step, wrong. If you are wooing me, come as you are, especially if I've already met you, because I know what you are, and I'm not interested in some weird version of you that borrows your mom's car. Like, what are you doing? And then he was like wearing like khakis and like a button-down shirt, and I was like, we are going to the movies. What are you doing? It did not And he like tried to open the door for me. And I was like, what are you, chivalry? Okay. So then we get to the movie and we got early because I like being everywhere early. And they had a movie trivia on, right? And he kept answering out loud. He was wrong every single one. It's like, wait, stop. Stop being so bad at movie trivia out loud. Like, if you're going to be bad at it, quiet. You do not need to think it. So we didn't really date.
Can I just throw
Yeah.
back to what we were just saying a few minutes ago about how impossible our mother is?
And I did say that I too am impossible, but I am not as impossible as she is. I really don't think I am. Maybe I'm worse.
Possible as she is, I'm worse. I think you're worse. But I think that's okay. I think you're worse, but I think you're worse in a way because you value yourself enough to like, I'm not gonna fuck around with nonsense, right? Like I'm not gonna waste.
Fucked around. No. I fucked around with
at this point in your life right now is what I mean.
Yes, yeah. That's why like dad telling me like whatever, none. Like I'm like
yeah. Like
first of all, there are actual words for this. I am demisexual and I am sapiosexual, which I believe are both in the asexual side. Since it's Pride Month, let's talk about sexuality. So I have to know a person to be attracted to them, right? Like I can't just be drunken strangers. It doesn't work for me. And I have to be attracted to their brain. Like it doesn't really matter what they look like. I have to be attracted to their brain. And so it's really like sometimes it works for me to go from friend to something else. I also just know what I like and I read people really, really fast. And I know when you're faking it. I don't like fake. Like it's disingenuous. So like the autistic part of me is like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you lying to me right now? Like, what are you doing? So I think we kissed. I don't remember it being great. And then I think he went into the military. And then maybe I heard from him one time, sometime after that. So, Alan, man, if you're out there, I hope you're living a great life. I hope you are better at trivia now or that you just stopped doing it.
And that you stop faking who you are to impress people.
Correct. He was the same guy who, this is actually kind of a funny thing. He wore the same pair of jeans for like over 70 days in a row.
Oh, I wish you
and
could
he
see.
didn't wash them. He didn't wash them.
No.
And the only reason I know is because after however many days, he was like, hey, do you know how many days I've been wearing these jeans? And I was like, I don't know. Because like we would draw on them and stuff. And I just never paid attention to the fact that like the drawings were all still his pants for like a living artifact of EE time together. It was like this many days. It was like, wash your jeans.
How did he go in his mind? Like, what are the mental gymnastics that he did to be like, she knows that I've worn jeans, unwashed jeans for 70 days in a row. But now because we're going to date, I need to put on khakis and a button down. Like, I mean, you already said yes, knowing the 70 days in a row, right? Like, I mean, he was like brainwashed by society into like what girls want, quote unquote, or what you have to do when you're dating, quote unquote. But that is fun.
No, it's weird. And it was like when I met Jamie's parents for the first time, they picked us up at the airport at STAC. We going out to their car and his dad like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a Mercedes. And I was like, what?
I'm also sorry that I don't have a Mercedes.
Like I would buy a Mercedes. Like it's just weird. Like I am not Kim Kardashian. Like I don't. What part of me looks like I give a fuck what you drive? I do not fucking care. Like I just don't.
That's our we are impressed by people, like the content of your character in your brain. If you're kind. Like, be dumb, but if you're kind and funny, like you don't have to have all of the things.
Yeah.
We do not give a shit about your stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's because we just grew up poor or what, but I mean, but that's not true because some poor people really care about stuff. Like, I don't know. So yay us. We're so elite in that way. I love thinking about how if we were going to go on a date and wanted to impress someone and like thought our car was too shitty, that taking mom's car would not be a solution to that problem.
I promise you I don't have a Coke Zero addiction.
Although I will say, Heather Davis, that I recently found a fucking Coke can crushed in like the pocket of the back driver's seat of my car about a month ago when I was cleaning it out. Thank you very much.
And how many times has that happened?
That would probably be the once in my life, maybe.
Okay.
The best was when it was like in the like hood, the bonnet part of Elliot's stroller. And
let's be clear that this was a time when you found our mother's Coke Zero. I want to clarify. Switch back to making fun of mom. Yes.
Mom's Coke Zero can discarded in the folded up bonnet of Elliot's stroller. Like,
good times. One more quick thing about how this movie somewhat interacts with my life. Yeah. I have seen Radiohead in concert a number of times, and one of those times was in 1997 at Fair Music Hall in downtown Dallas, or sort of central Dallas. And I remember telling Dad, like, hey, I'm going to go see Radiohead here. And he was like, no, you're not. He was like, well, ticket right here in my hand says I'm going there. He was like, no, rock bands don't play there. It was like, but my ticket says them. And so Darcy and I went, and they played the songs that are in the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack, which was beautiful. And they played a lot of other songs, and it was great. And it is one of two times in my life where I have been in a space where there were so many dudes, like so many dudes, and no women anywhere. Like, it was just like me and Darcy and I don't know, 800 dudes. It was freaky. And then the other time was when Terrence Malick out The Thin Red Line, and I think we got to see like a preview of it. And I'm almost certain we were the only two women in the movie theater. Like, and it was packed. Like, it was sold out. Like, it was stadium seating, like just film dudes lined up. And it would be really interesting to see a Venn diagram of how many of the Radiohead guys, also the Terrence Malick guys.
Yeah.
And then Darcy and I are like these two little tiny dots right there in the middle as well. So
I would argue, am I correct to think that in both of these are two spaces where, despite being so heavily outnumbered, you didn't feel unsafe? Versus like we're in a room of 800 frat dudes or something?
Yes, correct. I mean, it was very much like nerdy nerd guys. Like, I would have felt unsafe. Let's say that perhaps the director, Terrence Malick, had been there and they did a Q&A after. I probably would have felt unsafe in that space because I feel like dudes would get real argumentative real fast and like try to like be real aggressive about their knowledge and shit, and that would have been deeply unpleasant. So like the time that I was in a radio TV film class and the professor said something about Howard Stern recording in LA, and then there was just like this mumbling roar of dude was like, New York. It's like, whoa, calm down.
Turns out there is a Radiohead song that I like.
What? One's never seen. You do know there are two Radiohead songs in this movie, right?
Yes, it's the one, if you want me. That one, yeah. The like slow one, yeah.
They're both slow. One's really slow.
Not the like in credit one that he like had.
Music for a Film is a very, very, very slow song. Yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was like, what would you do if I just started going through an I Love Radiohead phase?
I would be so happy for you because it's amazing music, and that would make me happy.
I don't think that's going to happen because, so I've also been listening to and almost done listening to the book Remarkably Bright Creatures.
Yeah.
And last night I watched the movie on Netflix because I'm like basically done with the book. But at one point they're like driving her car and the young guy is like, oh, what are these tapes? Oh, Radiohead. And like Sally Field is like, no, I don't know. And like she's like plugging her ears and like, and he's like, no, we're going to listen to this. I can't. It's like the best song ever on this whole album, blah, blah, blah. And like sticks it in and Sally Fields is just like plugging her ears. No, I don't want to. It's just noise. And I was like, yeah, it is. like Sally Field knows what's up. So whoever made that movie also loves Radiohead, because then later in the movie, spoiler alert, whatever, he like covers I Can't a cappella or like solo acoustic at a bar for like an open mic night, which is not in the book. So
That wasn't in the book. That's interesting.
no, Radiohead did not show up in the book unless it was a time when I spaced out, which I sometimes do. Books.
You just see Radiohead in print and brain goes to some other place.
It was an audiobook. I've been doing more audiobooks, so. But yes, which also makes it more likely that my brain will be like, bloop, boop, 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 boop. No, I do really like that Radiohead song.
Yeah.
And I think all of, like, I mean, honestly, the soundtrack is just solid, which.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack.
So, and it stands up. I mean, for me, the movie 100,000% stood up. Like it was, I really enjoyed going back and rewatching this. I think because
same.
It's so long. Now, do I think I'm going to like watch it again anytime in the next 10 or 15 years? Probably not. But it is really, really good. But I think my problems with it are fundamental problems with the story itself and not the movie.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that, except that, well, we can get into it. There is one way that I think the movie lets itself down. That's a Baz Lurhmann problem. So we can talk about that later.
Talk about how John Leguizamo is hot as fuck in this movie. Like
those heels, those motherfucking heels, girl.
Yes. That whole opening scene, which first of all, totally forgot he pointed a gun in a kid's face. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Needed to calm down with their guns. We'll say that.
Yes. The fact that they didn't accidentally shoot themselves in the dick was very surprising with those. But yes, he, like him, like all of them compared to the fucking, which one's Romeo? Montague? The Montague boys were like, bleh, like all of them, except for Mercutio. But then all of the Capulet guys were just hot.
Yeah, so the Montagues were all methed up white boys. And then definitely the Montagues were like very sexy, chill. They like on Leguizamo, as soon as he walks in, it's like he just takes the cartoonishness way down, which was great. Mm-hmm. I love there is a version of this film that exists in an alternate reality where Ewan McGregor played Mercutio.
Yeah, I read about that, yeah.
And as much as I would love to see that, because oh my god, I do think that the Mercutio we get here is so great for so many reasons. And as much as Baz Luhrmann did for making Shakespeare something approachable that like people could fuck with and not scared of, also did a lot for truly inclusive casting. Instead of it's just like, yeah, and they have the black guy friend, or oh yeah, and her best friend black girl, or whatever. It was like he just was like, yeah, Mercutio's their cousin.
Well, yeah, well,
zero
like
questions.
Claire Danes is like supposed to be Latina, like I mean, like
yeah. She's half Latina, about half Latina as I am. Well, and then Paul Sorvino plays her father, and he's Italian American. Like there was definitely a lot of mixed upness going on, but at the same time, I do feel like it kind of pushed everything forward. And I wonder if Baz Luhrmann would have been open for like a non-white lead, like if he would have been open to a Juliet who wasn't white. It didn't happen. And I didn't read anything about it, but I just want to just take.
Like I read a little bit about and then who all they were considering, and I don't recall any of them being non-white. The other one that was very strongly in the running was Natalie Portman, but she was like 14 or 13. Like she was so young that they were like, this is fucking creepy.
Well, she's so small statured. I mean, she's still really tiny. At 14, she would have looked like a little girl.
They did a screen test. I think what Baz Luhrmann said is that Leonardo DiCaprio, who was 21 at the time, can pass for 18. But then when you put him with Natalie Portman, he looks 21. And that made it like really creepy. And
I do wonder if Ben Stiller was perhaps inspired by this gas station scene when he wrote the gas station scene for Zoolander, because I'm pretty sure the car in Zoolander was like a bright yellow car too.
Possibly, yeah. I wonder. I only recently realized that the Skarsgård, whichever Skarsgård is one of the male models in Zoolander, his friends that dies in that. So that was fun.
Oh, I did feel the homegirl who wrote Anyone But You definitely stole her quote graphics from this movie. Like, that was not original. I liked it a lot. I wondered if it was real footage of the LAPD. I didn't actually look it up, but I wonder if it was.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I did look up where was it filmed, and there's like a couple different places, but like Mexico City, like all kind of in Mexico and South America. I did want to ask, why is smoking so damn sexy? Like cigarettes. Let me be specific. Why is smoking cigarettes so incredibly sexy?
I think that Malcolm Gladwell actually wrote about this, so you can look it up. But it is.
You don't have to get into it. But I will say, just Romeo.
Are you, one moment, you're talking specifically about beautiful young lesbian Leonardo DiCaprio smoking?
No, all of them, like John Leguizamo smoking, but also him. Yeah, so I guess the two of them were the main people smoking, but I mean, in every movie. I did say that Shakespeare sounds so damn silly coming out of baby DiCaprio until he gets angry and upset, right?
Yeah.
Early on, baby DiCaprio, like that, I'm just this is just so silly.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yes.
Yeah. There are people that get really mad about Bite My Thumb at You, the way that is played out. And I get it. It's very Baz Lurhmann, but I felt like it was the only scene where he really went too far away from the original, the way that it was playing out. And I understand why he did it. That's his thing that he does. I also can understand why people get frustrated by that.
I mean, how do that and make it seem like an intense thing? I think he did it really well. Because I can remember.
I think he did, but yes. I don't know enough about the interpretation of that scene to argue this well. I just know that I think that perhaps it was supposed to be more subtle. And I mean, Baz Luhrmann doesn't really do subtle.
100% forgot the whole plot line with Paul Rudd and her having another suitor.
Yes, yeah. So I actually talk about Romeo and Juliet in my first book. There's a part where in the original Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth goes and she's staying at Bingley's house because her sister is sick and she's reading. And Caroline Bingley, who is jealous of Elizabeth because Darcy keeps paying her attention, is needling her about that she's reading and what is she reading and all that. And then Darcy is blah, 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 blah. And then she has to have all these refinements and skills. In addition, she has to improve her mind with reading. And then when the best version of the film adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, she snaps the book closed with some motherfucker. Anyway, why did I get into that? Oh, Romeo and Juliet. So in my version, she's staying over at Peter's loft because her sister got a migraine. And so she's going to check on her and bring her medication. And so they've hung out and it's late night and she's reading. And my version of Caroline Bingley is a very large personal protection officer named Bing, who is also jealous of my Elizabeth. And so he's teaching her about what she's reading, and it leads to this other discussion about classics and romance and all this other stuff. And so they have, she makes this big argument about Romeo and Juliet, and that basically when William Shakespeare was writing, there was this sort of shift away from the idea. And it went on for a long time of marrying for class and property and all those things. Romantic love had kind of seeped in and muddied things up, right? But if you read Romeo and Juliet, it's not a comedy, it's a tragedy. So he's not making the argument for romantic love. He's really just being I don't think teenagers are old enough to make these decisions. But yes, in Romeo and Juliet, her parents are trying to marry her off. to an older man, which in this version was played by Paul Rudd. But before we get to the very fun masquerade party, I would like to talk about something that I don't think I've ever talked about on podcasts before. There is a certain kind of filmmaking that I love, and it probably has a name and I've just forgotten it, where the aesthetic is beautiful but crumbling. And you don't see it very often because you either get everything looks like shit or everything looks perfect. You don't often get things that have been beautiful and then have in some way been scarred or marred or torn down or something like that. That bombed out stage, which it wasn't bombed out. Like when first found the stage where you first meet lesbian Leonardo DiCaprio, when they found that and decided to use that stage, it was intact. And then there was a hurricane, and the hurricane took the back wall out. I would argue that that hurricane did this movie so many favors because it would have been beautiful with the full wall, but how much more beautiful to be able to see through it and out into the ocean and then have that light coming through, and then the light is blocked in some ways, not completely blocked. And like, oh my God, like that is my kind of cinematic aesthetic beautiful, where you take something that's perfect and make it imperfect. And in the imperfection, it is so much more beautiful.
I think, I mean, I honestly feel like when watching it this time, I was like, man, I wonder, like, because like the sets and the scenery and everything was so well done.
Yeah.
Especially the outdoor stuff, like on the beach. And I being like, who thinks of this? Like, who thinks to build this crumbling ass? Right. So it's like, I didn't think, oh, they found it. Right. I just assumed they intentionally did it that way. Right. So I agree with you. Like, that is very, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, is this not a story about power and like fighting for power and things just ruin everything? Like,
well, I think that I've read something yesterday. So I've been on Threads trying to find a bunch of people talking about it so I can like promote it since this is the next episode that's coming out. And somebody said that Romeo and Juliet isn't a love story, it's a hate story. And I think that's a beautiful way to describe it, because I think that it's both and, right? You see that their love could potentially have healed everything because they're all so emotionally immature. Not just the children. You can't blame the children for being emotionally immature, but like the parents emotionally immature. And the nurse is emotionally mature. And even Friar Lawrence is a little bit immature. Like, he's not necessarily the greatest at giving advice. He's definitely like on their side, but maybe being on side isn't the best thing. Because they allow hate to consume them so much, they're all so emotionally mature that this is allowed to happen. Right. Whereas if they weren't so consumed by hatred, maybe everybody could have taken a breath. And there is a chance that their love could have made it and they could have gone through. But you see from the beginning, as soon as they talk about Rosaline and he's in love with Rosaline and he can't get over it and all this shit, like, only thing I really appreciated I appreciate the way they cut it for this, whereas basically like she wouldn't give it up and he's like tired of her. It's like, okay, dog, like, get a grip. That's so teenager, right? Like, but I think it's this way that you have Shakespeare writes so that from the beginning, you wonder how much can actually love Juliet, because he has just professed how miserable he is because he loved Rosaline and she didn't come back.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember talking about that when I guess we did read or talk about the play in school, because I'm remembering conversations and things. Like, they're talking about like he's just been talking about how easily he falls in love, right? And so even when you were just saying that about like they could have healed, and I'm like, I think if they'd taken a breath, I think they would have just realized they don't really love each other, or like each other, because they don't know each other.
Correct.
But also with the friar, I mean, you said he was on their side, and I'm like, no, he was just using them. You know what I mean? Like, to me, he saw an opportunity to solve this violence, right?
Okay.
And so to me, he was absolutely, and I think that the actor who played him did an amazing job expressing that, because I never saw that before. Or older and more world wise now that I can see it. Because even with all of his plotting with the poison and the this and the that, I mean, he's absolutely like, he has no care for them, right? No thinking like, oh, this could be wrong. Or so to me, he's not. I mean, he's on their side because it benefits him.
Yeah.
Even if his goal is noble, right? To stop violence. But I agree with you that they are, every one of them is an emotionally immature person. Like everyone in this movie or this play.
So I've just got like a few little, I'll throw some things out. So the sex worker dancing in slow motion right after we meet lesbian Leonardo DiCaprio was very David Lynch coded. I enjoyed that very much. And then the TV news anchors who were like, oh, it's going to be so great, were like definitely giving me Hunger Games vibes. I do think that, first of all, Baz Lurhmann is really great at understanding that people look super sexy when they're wet. Yes. And he does a great job getting these people wet so that they look super sexy. Also, we need to be using carousels more in films. It was such a great way to add more movement to that scene when the guys are on the carousel and they're moving and the camera moving. Like, plus, like, carousels are just really, really cool. Miriam Margolyes is too good for this movie. She's so fucking amazing. And like, she was too good. She definitely brings the level way, 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 way up. And it was so refreshing to see people with real eyebrows.
Okay.
Just natural eyebrows. Bring them back. I miss them. I miss real eyebrows. Please, please, please. Can we bring them back? Are you ready to talk about Mercutio and his queer joy, or should we talk about some things?
Oh, hold on. So the woman you just said, who did she play?
Miriam Margolyes played the nurse to Juliet.
Okay. I was going to say the mom is a hot damn mess. I don't know who that actress was, but like her like country accent that came out occasionally.
I kind of feel like they really wanted to get Jessica Lange and they couldn't get her, so they got that one instead.
So I was just
I have no proof.
What the fuck? We can talk about Mercutio, but like in that, so when Mercutio comes out in his opening scene and he's like, is he actually talking about drugs like in the original play, do you think? Or is this just Baz Luhrmann's interpretation with the acid?
I am no Shakespeare scholar and I cannot answer that accurately. Okay. I don't know what kind of access to hallucinogens they would have had.
Yeah.
But the Baz Luhrmann likes to get people fucked up and then go crazy.
Yeah, right. It's always a good idea to drop acid and go to your enemy's house uninvited. Like always, nothing will ever go wrong when you do that.
Or you only wear the mask for like 5 minutes.
Like the masquerade ball. Yeah, yeah.
The fact that they had the news anchors covering this feud and then they're both like, who are you? They would know what each other looks like.
Maybe he doesn't know who Juliet is because she did seem very like
sheltered,
right? And they're like, I buy that. But like the fact that he walked around without a mask for so long before Tybalt was like, what the fuck? Like nobody knows, right? Come on. Because he's definitely part of the action. He's not sheltered from it the way that Juliet is. But back to Mercutio, I did write down after his whole soliloquy, he's going through some shit. Like there's something else going on with Mercutio that you never get to know about.
Yes.
Like maybe it's, and I think I picked up on, or maybe I'm projecting, like I think he fucking hates Romeo.
Possible. I think he feels kind of like the peacemaker, like he's someone who can go in between. And I think that's like wearing down on him, right?
Yeah.
But I can definitely see where he would think that Romeo is a coward and be tired of his bullshit for sure.
Yeah, like the privilege of like, because he and the other one, they're like the ones who are put their lives at risk or whatever, being part of the Montague family in that way. And being the go-between, I think. And then Romeo is just like, yeah, I have a gun, but I'm like in love with Rosalind, and now I'm in love with her, and I'm so preoccupied in my own shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
Like, what does he do to like help the family? Whereas Mercutio bears that brunt. So
he brings the drugs. He has the best costume.
speaking of the costume, though, this is one thing that has always bothered me. Why did the wig change? He has a much larger wig at the party than he had on and I don't know if that's just like a visual thing because now they're on drugs. So the costume people were like, let's give him a bigger white afro wig.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's just always bothered me or stuck out to me. Not necessarily bothered me, but
I don't think I've ever noticed that. So that's fine. I just love how camera just moves and moves and moves. Paul Rudd is an adorable dork. I do want to say, do you think that Donald Trump would like the Capulet Mansion? Do you think he'd into that look?
I don't know. That makes me sad to think that because I wrote, do you think our little chaos friend group should style the European chateau we're thinking of getting after the Capulet house?
Fuck no.
I don't know why I wrote that down. Maybe I just meant the pool because the pool is really cool.
The pool was great. In addition to understanding that people look really good when they're wet, Baz Lurhmann also understands power of the gaze and how important it is for cinema. So the way that they're watching each other through that fish tank, which apparently they had to do like special lighting and all this other stuff to make it look good.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Are they in love with each other? Oh, they're in love with each other. Did you see at Friar Lawrence Place that shitty dean from Gilmore Girls was playing Jesus in the mural? Because that was really fun.
Just one thing that back to the emotional immaturity, I did write down that this is about the tragedy of male fragility and toxic masculinity. Like that's what the tragedy of this play is.
I go for that. I did also. So I've seen there's a 90-minute version of Romeo and Juliet that was filmed during COVID. And it's staged version, but continually cut between showing you that it's staged and then like little pieces that are actually cinematic. It's really, really good. It stars O'Connor and Jesse Buckley, which is just a reason to see it. If no, either one of them would be a reason to see it, both even more reason to see it. Tasman Gregg, who we love from Black Books, plays Lady Capulet, and she is vicious. The part where like when Juliet is like, and I married Ray or whatever, and I'm not going to marry Paris. I refuse. And then the mother is basically like, you're done. You're dead to me. And like, that's so vicious. Like the way that they cut her lines and the way that scene plays out between the Capulet and Juliet in this Jesse Buckley, Josh O'Connor version, it is like if Mrs. Bennett were a shark. Like she's just like, found you the best motherfucking husband.
Mm-hmm.
And you were going to come in here and tell me and like just, so good. Highly recommend watch that. Because I know you want more Shakespeare to watch now. For now, these hot days is the Mad Blood Stirring.
Oh,
which recently on one of the podcast episodes, we talked about taking to the streets and how much worse we'd be because it's so hot. That's the Mad Blood Stirring, baby. It's happening.
Well, yeah, heat making us kill, right? Like, right? And The Stranger and blah, blah. Like,
would you be able to sleep with that many creepy angels in your room?
I don't know how much they were sleeping, but
Juliet, Juliet, that was her room.
But I think that he does a very, very good job making her look so not even necessarily young, but just so innocent, right? Mm-hmm. So innocent, and so making her seem young without it being creepy, right?
Yeah.
And sheltered, like that she has the nurse, the way that she is dressed, and just, I mean, and sometimes like she, like the looks that she gives or like the thinking faces, like it's almost like a little bit of like a Nell quality. I don't know how to say that without, you know what I mean? Just like it's very, they do a really good job with her in that sense, right?
Yes.
And I was very impressed by that. I was like, okay, what's with all the water? There's just so much water. And so I did some research with that, and it's just like, so it's like the calm of the sea when it's surrounded by chaos. So it's like, like them, like everything between them is very like the calmness of it versus like the surrounding chaos, which I feel like, okay, I get that. I mean, I knew it had to be something like other than just that people are hot when they're wet, Heather.
This must mean something. What does it mean?
There has to be meaning.
All right. I hinted from the beginning that while I enjoyed this very much, it's not a perfect film. I think Baz Lurhmann suffers from his excesses. So he makes these openings just transcend so quickly. Such chaos, such height, such excess that the writing and the acting that follow cannot sustain the audience's attention. I think the exception, because I feel like that's true of this movie. I feel like it's true of Elvis. I don't think I feel like if you want to talk about Strictly Ballroom, was it his first one?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Help me. Was it called Strictly Ballroom? Anyway.
Yeah.
That one just felt kind of cartoonish through the whole thing. It didn't really have that whole big crescendo. I think Moulin Rouge, because it is Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor, they're able to sustain it in a way where you're still interested. But I also feel like Shakespeare kind of had that too. And it made me wonder how they maintained the audience's attention for like that long a period of time. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up actually watching an extra movie that we're going to talk about in a different episode. And in that movie, I was like, oh, like, I get it.
Okay.
So I said going in, I was afraid it would be cringe, but I do feel it holds up. They act like teenagers, overly emotional, driven by hormones, simultaneously acting as though they will live forever and that everything is urgent, right? Like, so they have all the time in the world, everything is urgent. But because they have nothing to compare it to, they have no experience. Their counsels, I think, as we talk on, aren't necessarily giving them the greatest counseling anyway. Also, you think about, I've made a note too. So Romeo's like, he's in an outfit at the beginning, and then that gets dirty or bloody or something. So he ends up borrowing a shirt from Friar Lawrence, right? Yeah. Like, because he needs something to put on. Then he wears his costume, and then he's in some other random thing. Then gets bloody again and doesn't have a shirt. So he borrows another shirt. It's like half the time, half this movie, he's just running around in other people's clothes because like he just doesn't have the time to go and deal with like clothing, right? Like that's just not something he has time for. So I thought that was fun. It also shows kind of the closeness that he has with Friar Lawrence too. And I want that shirt. I want that shirt.
Which one?
So bad.
The one with the Madonna on it?
No, not the one with the Madonna on it. The one with like the fish on it or whatever. Like the one he's wearing at the ending. I love that shirt.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
I do wonder why he chose Catholicism.
Yeah.
It's it's a much visually beautiful religion of the Christian religions, I think, or because of where they were filming. Like it was like, well, we can't get away from this, so let's just embrace it.
Well, and then also as of the time, I mean, Verona in the 16th century, everybody would have been Catholic.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. See, I was thinking like England, and I'm like, no, they weren't Catholic then. Queen Elizabeth, right? Like, but okay.
A lot of people were still Catholic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever. You're smarter than me. We all know.
Yeah, I don't know British history that well, I promise.
Yeah.
But I do think he definitely, I mean, so it was interesting. You were talking earlier about choosing the sets and those kinds of things. And I think so like if you look at Moulin Rouge by comparison, like there's nothing natural in that movie at all. Like it's all soundstage, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And I would argue, I think it suffers from that because he can make it be whatever it wants. Whereas this movie, I think, is better served because they actually filmed in locations. Mm-hmm. And maybe they dressed it up a little bit. They chose what lighting to use, when to film, that kind of thing. But I think that if he had had the budget to Moulin Rouge it and build the whole thing out, I think it would have been too excessive and too cartoonish. And using real locations, I think even though it was probably a budgetary choice, I think it was a really smart choice.
I feel like I wonder if maybe some of the things that happened from filming on location there caused him to not want to film on location anymore. Because
well, just because like makeup artists got kidnapped or whatever.
$300 or something, the ransom. It was so ridiculous. But even like Jamie Kennedy, did you read about that one? Like, because he has the black eye in that first scene.
Oh, okay.
He got in a bar fight. Like,
well, that could have been his fault.
I don't know, but still, like on location. So they were gonna put it like makeup over it, and Baz Lurhmann was like, "No, it looks good." Like the guy getting kidnapped is pretty wild. Tybalt is a psychopath. I think again, John Leguizamo is just amazing. He's absolutely amazing in this. Like, I mean,
I will say, I'm going to say this: time has made my appreciation of his acting ability grow to such an extreme. I never appreciated how good he was. John Leguizamo is an amazing actor. Like, he's incredible.
Yeah. I appreciate him a lot and admire him a lot. I have a lot of respect for him. I'll be very sad if something ever comes out to challenge that.
Don't make us cancel you.
I do think Leonardo DiCaprio becomes a much better actor after he has to stop. He gets to stop acting all innocent.
Yeah.
That's just me. Back to the set thing. The fact that Jesus statue was really 2 feet tall.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Amazing. Like, that is fucking hilarious to me. So well done.
So I got a couple things on the ending and then a couple of behind the scenes stuff. So I felt like even in the final scene, Baz Luhrmann is really great at using editing to reveal while hiding. So he's playing with the PO because Romeo hasn't received a letter that Juliet is faking it, right?
Yes.
And so she's like waking up, but every time she's waking up, he's looking away.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a really clever way to do that. You get that tension in there where you're like, oh, look at her, like, no. And then also I love Claire Danes and her big old snotty sobs. Like, but I also feel like she cried more in the original movie. Like, I don't know if they cut it. Would they do that? I don't know. But
I remember it that way because I recall you being, I don't know if critical, but definitely focusing on her crying at the ending of that movie. The other thing I remember you focusing on about her is I remember you bitching about how when they're under the sheets and you got so mad because her eyes kept like flicking back and forth because you were like, just look at one eye.
Yep. It drives me crazy. It still drives me crazy when actors do it.
I know. But it's really interesting because if you read about how she got the part, Leonardo DiCaprio chose her because he said she was the only one who looked him in the eyes.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of ironic. It's like,
the good news is I have since seen whatever that series was that came out last year with Matthew Deese and Claire Danes, and she did her big snotty sobs all the way through that miniseries. Like, it was fantastic. I was so excited about that.
Yes, that was very good. I was like, wait for it. And then she just like breaks. I did write down, girl, he ain't worth it.
True. Very true. Just steal his shirt and move on.
The temper tantrum that Romeo, Leonardo DiCaprio, throws when Balthazar comes and tells him that Juliet's dead or whatever. I wrote, it's really giving peak Elliot. And then especially with his pine cone. So another way I wasted time was going and making a meme to send to you and others who know the pine cone story to laugh at my son.
You got told the pine cone story on the podcast, so you may need to do that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you wanted me to. So while we were in Nashville, and we had so much fun, and the one like full day we were there, the Saturday, he like went swimming with mom, and then it rained, and before it rained, we were going to go swim again. So Heather put the swim bag that we have out on the porch, and we didn't think about it while it like torrentially downpoured for 2 hours. So then when we went to go swim later, Elliot and Heather and I, the bag was like full of water. So we had to dump out the water and all that. So anyways, we go to the pool, we swim, we're having so much fun. And then we're getting ready to go. And Heather, being the wonderful person that she is like, oh, I'm going to clean out Ryan's swim bag.
Elliot was tired and hungry.
Yes. I was going to get to that part.
But he was also, he was already edging. It was already like edging to tantrum with the game that we were playing. So we were playing a game with beach ball and pool noodle.
The pool noodle.
So we were playing like water baseball, keep away. And Elliot kept changing the rules, and he kept getting to that, like he would get real close to losing it and we could pull him back, but we had to keep pulling him back. And then finally it was like, get out of the pool.
Yeah, so we're out of the pool and he's drying himself off. And then Heather's like, I'm going to clean this whole swim bag out. And
Because I was trying to find a juice box for him.
Okay.
And in trying to find the juice box, I realized there was like an old Band-Aid floating around in water, 3 inches of water at the bottom of the bag, and wet tissues floating around at the bottom of the bag. So this bag was disgusting.
Cleaned out. Like, yeah, no, like, yeah, there was like shit down in there.
Yes.
One of the things which was a pine cone, or the core of a pine cone, the essence of what was once a pine cone in this bag. So Heather Davis walks over and just throws it over the fence into the grass.
Yep.
And Elliot, you would have thought that you had murdered me in front of him.
He overreacted.
Had a very, very strong reaction to Heather throwing the pine cone and climbing the fence to get at it. It was special. I gave it to my mother. I'll never find another pine cone like that ever again. My pine cone. I don't know. He may end up, to throw back to another episode, on his deathbed being like, pine cone, like fucking Citizen Kane and Rosebud. Except that I went out and got the pine cone back and he immediately was fine.
And then old man who lived in the cabin next to the pool gave you a look like, really, the pine cone?
Okay, first of all, that man did not live in that cabin. He had walked over with his dog. You're like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, this dude could have gone anywhere else. There's 1,000 places to be at this KOA. He chose to sit and listen to this overtired, overhungry, overindulged little child throw this fit about a fucking pine cone. He was like, I gotta wait and see how this ends. And the ending was, yes, he's really that upset about a pine cone.
Yes. And so Ryan made a meme about it. It's really funny.
Will you be posting that on social media?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay.
I would like to share with you, Miriam Margulies has written a couple of memoirs, I believe. And in 2021, she wrote one called This Much Is True. And she wrote about working with Leonardo DiCaprio. She says, Leonardo has grown into an extremely fine actor, but back then he was just a handsome boy who didn't always wash.
Oh.
He was quite smelly in the very male way some young men are. Sometimes he wore a dress. Leonardo, I think you're gay, I said. He laughed and said, no, Miriam, I'm really not gay. But I was wrong. We filmed in Mexico City. Paradise for someone like you who loves fossicking around ski markets and antique shops. And like me, Leonardo was into bling in a big way, too. We'd spend hours going to the markets together. I don't know that I've ever had such fun.
Interesting.
So I love that famously lesbian Miriam Margulies was like, I'm just hanging out with this stinky teenager. I mean, not teenager, he was 21, but yeah, this stinky boy.
Queer, most likely queer, stinky young man.
I mean, he's never going to admit to that. He just keeps dating 25-year-olds.
I know.
We need to learn not to disrespect actresses so much because Claire Danes, who was 17 during the filming of this movie, her very first scene that they filmed was the topless scene where she and Leo are rolling around in the bed.
Yes. Yeah, I read that and I was like, seriously, that had to be the first scene? Like, why the fuck?
Yeah, that was very epic.
Like, I mean, I guess they did. I don't know if they had intimacy coaches back then. I hope not, because I think an intimacy would be like, hey, make this the first scene.
Yep, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Anybody had said, yeah. I mean, I think that was so anybody who knows actors knows, like, there's a good chance they're going to fall in love with each other. So you kind of try to get the scenes where they like each other first. Because then when they inevitably date and then hate each other, you don't have to try as hard to get the chemistry there.
Yeah.
But I think in their ages, it was not a great decision. I wish for her sake that had been changed, but I think she's not overly hypnotized by it, so it's good.
I did read that they did not get along very well.
Well, apparently she had a really big crush on him. He did not. He was no. Like, So what are you going to do?
So at the end, when he kills himself and then she's fully awake and she's doing her whole thing.
Thank you. That is it for this episode of I Love You, But. What made you laugh? What made you cringe? What did we forget? And what should we talk about in future episodes?
We want to know your thoughts. Find us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at I Love You But Pod, or email us at iloveyoubutpod@gmail.com. Listener email and comments may turn up in future episodes.
This podcast is independently produced by us. You can support our show in a few ways, like maybe tell all your snarky besties to listen.
Be sure to rate, review, and follow I Love You But wherever you get your podcasts. And now you can help offset our production costs with a donation to buymeacoffee.com/I Love You But Pod.
Thank you.
I'm Heather Davis.
And I'm Rian Davis, and we wish you lots and lots of conditional love.
About how you didn't save any for me. All I could think was like, what about the farewell drugs? He said, what about the farewell drugs? Because those really were farewell drugs.
Oh, they really were.
All I could think.
From Romeo and Juliet to Sid and Nancy, you never know what you're going to get on the I Love You But podcast.